This inquiry-based assignment that we are doing is called a claims-based essay because you are going to have a topic and you are going to create an inquiry question around your topic in order for you to search for research and come up with information. A research question is really important to this process because it's kind of like looking at a Where's Waldo. And if I said like, who are the people wearing red? You'd be like, oh, there's like 100 of those. Who are the men wearing red? Okay, that's less. Okay, who are the men with glasses? And as you narrow your research question, you can also narrow your results. So when you think about your topic and your inquiry question, you're going to want to think about getting really specific. So for example, one inquiry question could be about like, oh, what should we do with climate change? Well, that's huge. Climate change is a really, really big topic. But maybe you can think about something that is maybe more personal or something that you see quite often. So we live in Oregon and I see landscaping all the time, and my neighborhood is pretty busy with like landscapers coming in and out. And so you kind of hear the lawnmowers and you see the leaf blowers. And I really wonder how like landscaping and climate change connect to each other. And so adding those two ideas together, kind of a concrete topic like landscaping that's very like tangible and real and that we see every day, connected with kind of this bigger idea of climate change, is going to create an inquiry topic that will help me really focus. Maybe I do a little research on the lawn mowing, maybe I do a little research on the climate change, and maybe I find like the golden research that really brings those two things together. And so then I find, how much does that contribute to climate change? What would happen if we changed our practices? How do we kind of balance that with being so green in Oregon that we want people to have beautiful lawns and trees and we want to develop all of that, but yet how do we also maintain it in an environmental way? And so that's an example of a really strong inquiry question. You might have these topics and some of them might seem really big. Narrow with something concrete that's going to anchor. And then other topics may seem kind of silly and small, like, hey, I want to talk about shoes, right? I love shoes. I'm obsessed with shoes. Great. Maybe you link shoes to something like climate change and you think about the impact of creating a shoe and what goes into it, or recycling shoes and what happens afterwards. So connecting to a larger kind of global topic of something like climate change, something like a social justice issue, something like gender or race, is going to give you the broad perspective you'll need to research, but both bringing it into something really personal, something that you know, and something that you have been exposed to or kind of connect to all day or all of your life or pieces of your life. So that's what we're doing here with this essay. We are going to create this inquiry question with those two kind of pieces. We're going to start researching and exploring that topic, see what people have to say about it. And then after we have that, we're going to come up with a conclusion. So if my inquiry question is something like, what's the impact or what's the effect on the environment with all the landscaping? And maybe I even add in Oregon because that's a way to narrow it down. Then I do my research and I discover like, oh my gosh, it has a huge impact on Oregon. And I go through the data and information, and then maybe at the end I go like, we should do something about it. Maybe I personally should do something about it. Maybe there are organizations that I could join. So we won't have that thesis or that conclusion to the end, and that's okay. But it might make you feel a little unsettled through this process because you don't necessarily know like where you're going with the topic. And we don't like that as writers, but it's also really exciting because you don't know. So the genuine curiosity hopefully will spur your research and really help you to be motivated and look and see what you find with this topic. As I say, it is a daunting task sometime, but we are going to get through it together. We're going to use all these different writing modes that we've been studying in Readers for Writers, because in a big essay like this, we're going to be pulling on comparing and contrasting things. We're going to be pulling on personal anecdotes. We're going to be pulling on defining our word and showing what that is, and perhaps arguing our point at the end. So all of those modes are really going to come together in this essay and hopefully be one fluid writing. I'm going to be asking you for a variety of sources. You're going to need about 5 or 8 in your final draft, but we're going to be reading and note-taking on many more than that. And I talk about that a little bit, gathering the best berries and then picking out the most perfect one for our paper. So we'll have this rhetorical precis, which is like an annotated bibliography on lots of our sources, and then we'll narrow it down to ones we're actually going to use in our paper. And some of that happens because as you do research and you start to write, your focus kind of narrows and you realize like, oh, this article that I thought was really perfect doesn't really fit now because I kind of changed my topic. That is absolutely okay. This essay is going to be a bit longer. It's going to be 1,200 to 1,500 words. We're going to be talking much more about citing and kind of formatting our papers, just because it is going to be a scholarly essay to set you up for your other academic work and other classes. We're going to be talking about peer-reviewed essays, scholarly essays. I'm going to try to have you research a published book. That can also obviously be an ebook, and the PCC library has that. We're going to also want some of these kind of softer pieces of evidence, right? Maybe interviews, blogs, social media. We're going to talk about a little interview project that we are going to start doing this week, and it will take us a couple weeks to kind of get through. So after that, you guys have already done some of these medium sources where you kind of chose your topic and pieced through and saw some of these. And I also recommend things like documentaries. I love Nova myself. It's one of my favorite ones, and we might watch one later on to talk about organizing our essay. Look at TED Talks, podcasts, absolutely. So we want a wide variety to really go into this research as we kind of discover what we know about this topic and share with each other what we should do now that we know this information. So we will be doing this entire project for the next part of the term. It's going to take us all the way to the end, so we have many weeks to kind of go step by step with it. As always, if you have questions on it or you want to talk to me about something specific, please always reach out. But it should be an exciting opportunity for you to research something you're really interested in, and to share it with other people in your life.